Hello, Gary Champion, Psychic Medium, once again with a little video I hope that helps. Um, Many times we lose a loved one, and that's Peanut. I don't whine like that. Anyway, we lose a loved one, and we didn't get to say anything to them. They passed before we could have any final words or a sense of completion or satisfaction that we said what we had to say. We didn't leave any stone unturned before they passed. Issues that you've had with that person in the past, sometimes since childhood, especially if it's a mother or a father, someone really close, or a sister or a brother, and you didn't have time to tell them or discuss with them things that you have left unsaid, sometimes 30, 40, 50 years. Now's the time to get them out. And now they're past, and you didn't really have a chance to communicate those final thoughts. It happens a lot. Sometimes it's just geographic. They're in a foreign country, or you're in a foreign country and you just simply can't get there. You get a phone call in the middle of the night and we think that so and so doesn't have long to live. Would you like to be here for that? And yeah, but you have a family, you have obligations, you have meetings, you have things that you can't unschedule, or simply geography makes it impossible. And there's nowhere you're going to get there. The first thing I'd try would be Skype and Zoom. Those are, you can see them. It's just like being there. It's like this class that I'm giving called Manifesting. Oh, and by the way, we have quite a few people enrolling in that, so thank you for that. But Skype and Zoom does a lot, and it's quite intimate, I think. I've talked to a lot of people this last couple of years on Skype and Zoom, and it's like you're in the room with them. It's very, very intimate, and you can say the things you want to say. Even if it might be something that drags up anger or resentment or something, don't leave it unsaid. You did this. I was angry about it. I'm okay now. Or you did this, and I'm not okay with it. We need to rectify this dissension between us, or this gap between us somehow. And sometimes it just can't be done. People can be difficult, and lifelong things are never resolved. I've had that with lots of relatives. These past, I didn't have anything to say to them. And then later you think, yeah, I wish I had had that talk. I saw my grandfather before he passed. I saw my aunt and people like that before they passed. I did not see my brother. But what I'm saying is that years or even months after they passed, or years after they passed, maybe a decade, you start feeling like you wish you had said something and resolved this, because it's hanging on your heart. It's something you'd like to get rid of. Say what's on your mind. So that's why you should say these things when they're still alive. And you can, if you're going to fight over whatever it is, at least there is some kind of a resolution there. Will you at least know how I feel? Maybe neither one of you changes your mind about something. Maybe it's such an issue that can't be resolved that way. And some just can't. I think I can forgive anybody anything, pretty much. I don't feel like anybody's done me any irreparable harm in my life. So I can forgive those things almost at the time they do them. So I don't hold that in my heart, but a lot of people do. And then years later, it comes up and again and again and again, and you feel like you didn't get your say, or maybe they didn't get their say. Maybe they have a bone to pick with you and they never got to say it, and now it's eating at you. A good thing to do: take a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and handwrite them a letter. Don't type it in a computer. Handwrite it, saying the things you would say if they were still alive. And then burn it. It's sometimes the things that we keep within us that we don't write down or express. Writing them down is expressing them, that hold us back. And by expressing it, you've done the best you can, considering that they're not here. The truth is that they know how we feel. Anybody that's passed to the other side is aware of the things that are going on with you, more than when they were here. When they were here, they probably didn't care. Now that they pass, they see things differently, and they're fully aware of these things. But if you can't talk to them like I can, I don't, even though my brother passed a few years ago, I don't have any unresolved issues. He's come around a lot of times, but I'm a medium, so we're okay. We're good. If you can't talk to them, you can't resolve these things. So writing a letter, handwrite it, put in an envelope. Like when you were a kid and you would send a letter to the North Pole, Santa, and the post office was piled up with letters going to Santa and North Pole, and of course they had no place to send them to. Dead letter office. We'll do that. Sort of write the letter in care of so-and-so on the other side. Or if you believe in heaven, you could say heaven. I guess you could do the opposite too. But by expressing that way, it gets it out of you. I've written a lot of books. And some of the books, the fictional books I've written, have things in them that I was trying to get out of me, although at the time I didn't know that. I'd write a book in which I resolved the issue that was happening in real life in the book. I gave characters life, made the characters more real. And within the dialogue of the book, I resolved my issue in the book. I got to say things I wanted to say. Not everybody's a writer, but you can write a letter. Doesn't have to be 14 pages long, or it could be 20 pages long. I know I get some emails that are like 5 pages long, and asking something or saying something, and I read them all, just as they will. Interesting thing is that when I'm writing a book, I know that they're around me. I was writing a book once when I first moved here. I had really a one-room apartment and a bedroom. That was it, front room and a bedroom. And the typewriter was set up, or the computer was set up on a bar-like thing between the kitchen and the front room. That's how they're in a small apartment. That's it. You have a kitchen, you have a cut in the wall there, and a counter. Well, that's where I typed. And my grandfather would appear behind me. You could feel him. I turned around and saw him once and made comments about writing and stuff. So gave me some little insight, some little things to think about. So when you write this letter to someone who's passed, it doesn't matter if it was last week or 30 years ago, the effect is the same. You get that angst out of you. You have a chance to say something you wanted to say to them, and you said it. Don't believe for a second that they don't know exactly what you're writing. So an apology or a question. Perhaps I didn't understand what you were going through. And that's many times that's the case. Someone passes, you have issues with them. Maybe they just don't want to talk to anybody. And later on you find out they were dying. They didn't want to have any contact. So you were upset at the time, but now you understand that what they were going through was greater than whatever your issue was. So sometimes, because a lot of this stuff keeps families are separate, and the person that's closest that's there is aware of it, but they don't tell everybody because this person said, "Don't tell everybody I'm dying." So they pretty much cut off communication, and they pass and say, "What the heck was that about?" And then it leaks out. Eventually, you find out they died of cancer, and they just didn't want, or a heart attack, or heart problems, or 1,000 things they didn't want anybody to know about. And so you say, "Okay, now I understand why you didn't want to talk. That you were going through something pretty tough, and I didn't understand, but I understand now. It's okay that you didn't want to talk to me." So sometimes it's just it could be, I'm just giving you scenarios, but it could be a lot of things. And please, please, please don't think that they're not with you when you write that letter, because they are. Your emotions go out to the other side and they appear. Happens all the time around here. Or with me, I'm having supper and my mother appears and says something. I didn't ask her to come. She just felt like I needed to know something. Or my grandfather says something with several things I've used. I've written what he's told me in books. I've done classes and talked about it. So don't think that they're not listening and watching and hearing everything you say and do. I know in readings some strange stuff comes through. I can read text. So I was on my YouTube site a couple of days ago. I don't remember. I don't have a memory. And someone had said something, and I was responding to, because I could read the text, and someone said something about they needed some dental work done. And that person responded and said, yes, that's what I'm going through right now. Which is proof positive that relative that she was asking about was there when that was going on. And this is a confirmation that I'm around you. I saw the dental trouble you were having. I wanted you to know. So I read all those texts, and that popped out that she had a dental thing or something. And I'll do 9 or 10 of them in a row. I don't do all of them, but I do a lot of them, and I read them all. There's not a single comment on my YouTube site that I don't read. Not a single one. And when I see trolls, I take them off. The point is to keep this an environment where people can feel free to express themselves and help each other. So that's a couple of solutions. Or you could shoot a video like this one saying, "I'm sorry I didn't understand," or "We should have resolved these things, we didn't," and then delete it. Getting it out of you is the important part. They will see it. They might respond to it if you listen carefully, which I've always done. So anyway, it's a little video I thought that might help if you're grieving for a loved one because you had unsaid things. Feel free to write them down, make a video. A big one with me is I'm walking around the room, and my wife says I talk to people that aren't there all the time. I mumble and say things. Well, I know what I'm saying, but maybe it's not, you can't hear it because I'm mumbling it. I don't intend to say it at all. It just comes out and I'm mumbling it. And I know they respond. I'll say, "Well, what should I do here?" That's one that I commonly say. "What am I doing next?" And someone will give me a thing and says, "Who are you talking to up here?" And then by the time that's happened, I'm not sure. So they listen to everything you say. And not just my relatives, guides. There's people come through all the time that aren't related to me. You wonder why they do, but they do. And perhaps they're for someone I'm going to read this afternoon. They're a spirit that belongs to them, their grandmother or grandfather that's come by to be here when the call happens where they can comment. So they're here just hanging around in the waiting room. So I want you to try it and see if it doesn't make you feel better. And that's what we're doing here, trying to make your life here better. Even though you missed an opportunity, it's never too late. That's the end of this video. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.